Good morning, students. This video is the second part of the chapter Working of Institutions, Class 9, Subject Social Science. Children, in the previous video, we had discussed about the Office Memorandum and the Mandal Commission. In this video, children, we shall discuss who takes the decision and what is the need for a political institution. The arrangements made in the democracies to take decisions, implemented the decisions to see what is wrong and what is right in case of disputes regarding the decisions are sailed political institutions. So children, basically you can understand this as several arrangements are made in modern democracies which are called institutions in simple terms. Democracy work well when these institutions perform function assigned to them. Now students, let us discuss what are the major functions performed by these institutions. Institutions involves meetings, committees and routines. This often leads to delay. Some of the delays and complications introduced by institutions are very useful as they provide an opportunity for a wider set of people to be consulted. Next, institutions make it difficult to have a good decision taken very quickly, and they also make it equally difficult to rush through a bad decision. So, children, by this you can understand how the working of these institutions is essential for the smooth functioning of the whole system in our country. Let us children now first discuss about the parliament. Students, decisions are not directly taken in the parliament, but parliamentary decisions on the report influence and shape the decisions of the government. These discussions, children, bring pressure on the government to act. If parliament is not in favor of the decision, then the government cannot go ahead and cannot implement the decision too. Now, the question is, why do we need a parliament? Before I tell you this, you people should aware of what is parliament means. An assembly of elected representatives is called parliament, which exercises supreme political authority on behalf of the people. At state level, children, this is called legislative assembly. Children, the names may vary in different countries, but such an assembly exists in every democracy. Parliament actually exercises political authority on behalf of the people in many ways. Parliament is the final authority for making laws in any country. Those who run the government can take decisions only when they get the support of Parliament. Parliament also controls all the money that governments have, and the Parliament is the highest forum of discussion and debates on public issues and national policies in the country. So, students, we have discussed everything about Parliament. Now, we shall discuss about the houses of the Parliament. Most of the large countries divided the role and the power of the Parliament into two parts, which are called chambers or houses. One house of the Parliament usually directly elected by the people and exercises the real power on behalf of the people. On the other hand, second house is usually elected indirectly and performs some special functions. The most common work of the second house is to look after the interest of various states, regions or federal units. In India, Parliament consists of two houses. These two houses are known as the Council of State, which is Rajya Sabha, and the House of the People, that is Lok Sabha. The President of India is a part of Parliament, although he or she is not the member of the either house. All the laws made in the houses come into force only after receiving the assent of the president. Students, Indian Constitution gives the Rajya Sabha some special powers over the states. But on most of the matters, the Lok Sabha exercises supreme power. Now, children, I am going to discuss some points that make the things clear to you. The first will be any ordinary law needs to be passed by both the houses. But if there is a difference between the two houses, the final decision is taken in a joint session in which members of both the houses sit together. The view of Lok Sabha is likely to prevail in such a meeting. There are a lot of members of Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha children exercises more power in money matters, or you can say the monetary matters. At the same time, Lok Sabha controls the Council of Ministers. Till now, you people understood how the Parliament is functioning and the duties being performed by it. But to perform all such things, government also need some people. At different level children of any government, functionaries take day-to-day decisions but do not exercise supreme powers on behalf of the people. All these functionaries are collectively known as executives, children. These executives is in charge of execution of the policies of the government. These are of two types. These political heads are of two types. The first is political executives and the second one is permanent executives. One that is elected by the people for a specific period is called the political executive. Political leaders who take big decisions fall in this category only. People who are appointed on a long-term basis are called permanent executive or the civil servants. They remain in the office even when the ruling party changes. Now, the question arises, why is the minister more powerful than the civil servant? In democracy, students, the will of the people is supreme. The minister is an elected representative of the people and thus empowered to exercise the will of the people on their behalf. Minister will finally answerable to the people for all the consequences of his or her decisions. The ministers takes advice of experts on all the technical matters and then take the decisions. Now children, let us know about the Prime Minister and the political executives. There is no direct election to the post of the Prime Minister. The President appoints the Prime Minister. Now, whom the President appoints the Prime Minister? He appoints the leader of the majority party or the coalition of parties that commands a majority in Lok Sabha as the Prime Minister. In case no single party or alliance get the majority, the President appoints the person who is most likely to secure majority of support. The Prime Minister does not have a fixed tenure. He continues in power so long as he remain the leader of the majority party or coalition that has the majority in Lok Sabha. In the same sequence, the Council of Ministers is the official name for the body that includes all the ministers. It usually has 60 to 80 ministers of different ranks like cabinet ministers. The first one is cabinet ministers. These ministers are usually top level leaders of the ruling party or parties who are in charge of the major ministries. The cabinet generally comprises about 25 ministers. The next category will be ministers of states with independent charge. These ministers are usually in charge of smaller ministries. They participated in the cabinet meetings only when specially invited. The third category is the ministers of state. They are the junior ones who are assigned to assist cabinet ministers and the ministers of state with independent charge. Parliamentary democracy in most of the countries is often known as cabinet form of government because most of the decisions are taken in cabinet meetings. Every ministry has secretaries who are civil servants. These secretaries provide the necessary background information to the ministers that will help them to take the decisions. The cabinet as a team assisted by the cabinet secretariat. Children, I hope that this video will be helpful to you people to make the chapter very clear. Rest we shall be discussing in the next video. Thank you.